Yeah, hello everyone. I have been gone for quite some time. School has gotten in the way of making fab content as well as trying out new things with fab has also gone in the way of making content because I just forgot. But mostly school and then holidays coming up, or well, they were up, New Year's and Christmas and all that, did put a wrench in my plans for making content, so I haven't posted in about 2 months. Sorry for that. But today I wanted to make a video on Florian's Barkskin map. This is unscripted, it's just gonna be like not super long. I'm just gonna explain the math behind Barkskin. This is for the mirror only. This is only for the mirror. So like this is for the mirror, assuming that they're either on scepter, tree, or just tree in general. Um, so anything that runs that line. And it's whether you should be running AB3 or not. And I think I would start to preface this by saying I think you should run AB3. And so my reasoning for that is that both Barkskin and Carapace, which basically everyone is running in their board either way, is free blocks on like it blocks for free total. So that's free value. And like that's at a baseline, right? Barkskin obviously has the added effect of when you're blocking with it, you get an embodiment of Earth. And so now against Florian in the mirror, it's kind of difficult sometimes to get usage of that embodiment of Earth all the time. So you really need to think of when you're using it. You really need to find those good spots, and those can be hard to find because a lot of the times when a Florian is attacking you in the mirror, it's gonna be with something at least a little bit bigger, but it's gonna come with some disruption. For example, if they're sending a felling at you, if there's like that's gonna come with a disruption. That means that it's harder for you to want to block it as well because you want to have a plan for your turn, obviously. So the Barskin math I dallied out is that so we're gonna go for each scenario. So the first one is kind of bad. You're almost never seeing it this way. Is that you're blocking with Barskin in the mirror, that is, uh, two times before you even have four Earth cards. Like that's almost never happening unless your list is like full on aggro CMH, no decompose, right? That's when you're doing that. If you're doing like, oh, I'm gonna cosplay Bride, that's the only way you're getting it, like this. But that's almost never happening in the mirror. So let's just scratch that as free value. Free value from Carapace, might as well run Carapace because it's AB2. And against Channel Millennium Tree, if you can AB3, because like you should at least be running AB1 in the mirror, obviously, because of the rune chance, having that extra AB against someone that's running Channel Millennium Tree is really, really valuable and gets you a lot of value, which I will come to later. So then we have the 0 and then 1 embodiment, which is again almost never gonna happen. In the mirror, you basically always have time to block with Barskin on one embodiment, at least twice. Like you usually have that time without problem. So let's see. So then you get your embodiments, right? So you block with it once on two, so that's two value, and then you get your embodiments. Now the extra value that you get with those embodiments obviously comes from blocking. So then you need to block with your non-attack actions. So if you have a hand with no non-attack actions and you need to use Barkskin to, for example, cover an on-hit, that's really bad. Then you get no extra value from the embodiment of herbs. But let's say, because this is usually how I do it, because it makes it easier. Let's say you have two non-attacks in your hand. So you have two non-attacks in your hand, and what does that mean? It means that you're getting an extra two value of Barkskin, right? So you're getting an extra two value of Barkskin. This doubles when you have ability online, which I will get to. So extra 2 value. So now you're getting 4 value from the first block, which is very, very nice. And you're getting 3 value from the second block. So you've gotten an extra 4 value from Barkskin for a total of 7 value in blocking. Discounting that shit might hit the fan and you're overblocking because you need to, right? But that can also be some sort of value gain, for example, versus new, that can be some sort of value gain. But again, mirror. You rarely want to be overblocking in the mirror. I know about some pummel lists. There has been, I want to try a pummel list, putting it out there, if someone wants to make it. That would be very nice. But that is where the math ends, right? So now we're going into 0 and 1, or like 1 and 2. So then you would, again, you get 2 value from the first one, and then you would get 4 value from the second one, going up to 9 value. Now that's very strong. Having 9 extra value from your chess piece is incredible. Or like technically 6 extra value because you already have the 3 value, right? Because you get 1 and then you get 2 extra value per non-attack. But that's also assuming that you have 2 non-attacks. And now, usually you would block with only having 1 non-attack. And so that decreases the value of that decreases the value of the embodiment of verbs. But now 2 and 2 would be, so like you're blocking with it after you have a state decompose, you're really, really happy about that. And so you would have 8, like you would get 4 value from the first, you would get 4 extra value from the first one and 4 extra value from the second one. So you get a total of 8 extra value. So your value from one card, from one piece of legendary equipment would become 11. And you would block for an extra like either 10 or 8 or 9, which is super powerful. It's not that good against go wide decks, but in the Florian mirror, it's really nice. Because Florian mirrors can still go pretty wide sometimes with like cards like Forming Gloomveil and E-Strike, but they can also become these like big bonk heavy attacks. Um, so now we have that out of the way. Maximum value that you're usually getting on Barkskin is 11, right? Like that's the max. So now let's check Carapace. Carapace is only good, and I want to preface this, it's only good if they are on tree. If they are not on channel the Millennium Tree, Carapace isn't good. So now the question becomes, should you try and see if your opponent is on channel Millennium Tree? Like you can scout, for example, in a tournament to see what the Florians are on. I think a lot of people still play channel Millennium Tree in the sideboard, for example. It is a very good card. Um, so let's see. With Channel Millennium Tree, it amps for free. And with Carapace, you're putting your total AB up to free. So the thing is that the value becomes kind of weird to calculate. But what I end up doing is, when I'm doing this, I usually want to pitch a blue. And I want a blue on my turn. So still, again, I want 2 blues in my hand whenever my opponent has Channel Millennium Tree out. Because what ends up happening is I probably want to pitch for Grasp Reaping Blade, or just Scythe, or whatever I fancy playing, right? Like I could play Scepter still. Uh, so that's what I want to do. So I want to have 2 blues. So I pitch a blue, and I've now saved myself 3 life. And usually, one Channel Millennium Tree is staying around 2 to 3 turns. Can be a bit hard to keep it around for 3 turns, so let's say 2. Now at the first one, you're getting free value from your carapace because you're using it with your AB1 boots or with your AB1 lantern that you have in the mirror. And then either they can't get rune chance, which if they can't get rune chance, you're essentially doubling your value, because if they get rune chance, they are doubling their value, right? If they are on Scepter, they are just doubling their value with Channel Millennium Tree, which is why this was my idea in the first place. But it's just still good. Like it gets a bit harder with Red type because you can't gain life, but right now life gain isn't really the most popular Florian strat. But we'll see, maybe it comes back. I hope it comes back. It's kind of fun to play, I'm not gonna lie. But like your base value is 6 for one tree. They have 3 trees in the deck. Remember, because like you play 3 of these. If you're not, then why are you playing 3? Like I guess I've seen some people play 2, and then at worst you get 12 value, which is still better than Barkskin in the mirror. It's still better than Barkskin here. And then if they keep it on for 3 turns, you can now get up to 9 value from one tree. So you get 18 value from 2 trees. 27 value. Like you're saving yourself 27. Wait, is that correct? Because like I did this math before, like a long time ago, and it just feels insane, you know? Like 27 life you're saving by getting rid of Channel Millennium Tree. It's just so good. So that's why I run Dyadic Carapace in the mirror usually. Because if they're not, at worst, Dyadic Carapace is just free block. Like it's free block. And it's like, okay, I lose like potential upside of Barkskin, but Barkskin is still hard to get value out of. Right? Like Barkskin still has some nicks and quirks with you getting value out of because like, do you really want to block with your Arcane Seeds life? For example, like that's a 0 for 5. Like sure you can block with it for 5 if you use Barkskin, but like you see it like you don't really want to block with it a lot of the time. So what ends up happening is I decided that I want to go AB3 in the mirror. I don't know if it's true anymore. I mean, if you know that your opponent is on Scepter, always go AB3 in the Florian mirror, and you're fine. Right? Like it can still be kind of difficult. Like I had some games in Stockholm. My first 2 games in Battle Hardened Stockholm was versus 2 Florians, and I was like, I'm gonna try this, and I won both of those games because of the fact that my opponents weren't on AB3, so I could like free stack my rune chance. I could stack 3 rune chance every single turn when I had tree out, and I could keep my tree out for a long time because Florian isn't really pressuring you a lot, so that's why it's easier to keep around 3, which is why you want the AB3. And I just won. It was kind of close because they had a little bit of life gain in their decks, which made it a lot harder for me to just kill them outright with my stack. I had to like try and get tempo some other way, which was very difficult. Um, but I won because I had AB3. Now, if they weren't on 3 there, I still would have run it. I wouldn't have gotten my Barskin value, but that's fine. I think if you don't know what they're on, and assuming that they're on 3 isn't really that bad because I think it helps enough in the in the matchups where they are on Channel the Millennium Tree. So I think that helps enough to where it's worth it to maybe take a potential value loss in Barkskin's math for running Carapace in case of. Because you're always running at least AB1 in this matchup either way. If you're not, then the matchup can be really difficult because you're taking a lot of free damage. I remember like I was playing on Talishar in the beginning and I legitimately forgot to bring in AB1 and the game was like over from turn 1 because I was like, I don't have AB. So I think running AB3 is really important. I think this is something that is one thing that you don't really see because I don't think there's been a Florian mirror on stream like ever. Um, And I and if there was, I don't think they were on Carapace versus each other. So I think that's one thing to look out for. If anyone wants to test it with me, like shoot me a message, like leave a comment, and we can test it. Um, I because I also kind of want to know how good it is if your opponent isn't on Channel Millennium Tree. Because if they're not, how bad does it become to run carapace? Right? Like, how bad is the value loss? Because I can imagine the value loss being pretty bad. Like, you're getting like you're losing like you're losing like 4 to 11 value. That's a lot of value to be losing in a matchup where you want a lot of value, right? So just leave a comment and I'll test it out, I guess. But yeah, that's the video. Wow, 15 minutes. That's like short for me. I know I ramble a lot. I hope this has been like somewhat at least instructive. I maybe should have put some numbers up on the screen, but I don't have a lot of time to do shit. I'm still just a student. So I hope this was educational in some way and that you guys enjoyed me rambling on about obscure Florian matchup mirror math that's like not coming up a lot. Um, yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. Hope you get maybe slightly better at the game with this. That's all I want. Uh, so yeah, see ya.